The rain was falling softly over Portland that night, tracing long silver lines across the orphanage windows. Inside, 5-year-old Lily Thompson sat on the floor, hugging a worn-out teddy bear with one ear missing. Around her, other children laughed, played, or cried, but Lily stayed silent. She was used to silence. It was safer that way. Her earliest memory was of a voice, warm, melodic, almost trembling, singing a lullaby. She didn't know who it belonged to, only that it made her feel safe once. Now that voice existed only in dreams. By the time she was 7, Lily had lived in 3 different foster homes. None of them lasted. Some families were kind but distant. Others, cold and impatient. Every time she started to hope, the bags reappeared by the door. "It's not your fault," one social worker once told her. But even at that age, Lily knew. It had to be someone's fault. When she turned 9, a couple named Sarah and Michael Thompson arrived. They were gentle, warm, and oddly patient with her silence. Sarah would brush Lily's hair every morning, even when the girl refused to speak for days. Michael built her a treehouse behind their small suburban home. "This is yours now," he said. But Lily couldn't believe it. She'd learned that forever usually came with an expiration date. Still, something about the Thompsons felt different. On her 10th birthday, Sarah baked a vanilla cake with pink icing. When they sang Happy Birthday, Lily looked around. No suitcases, no goodbyes, no social workers. For the first time she smiled. Just a little. But at night, when the house was quiet, she would still lie awake and wonder, "Where are you, Mom? Why did you leave me?" As the years passed, the questions never faded. Lily grew into a quiet, observant teenager, kind but guarded. She excelled in school, especially in art. Painting became her language, the way she told the world what she couldn't say aloud. Her art teacher once told Sarah, "Lily paints like someone searching for something." Sarah only smiled softly. "She is." At 18, Lily received a scholarship to study design at Oregon State University. Her adoptive parents were proud, but the night before she left, Sarah sat beside her on the porch. "Lily," she said gently, "if you ever decide to find your birth mother, we'll support you. You deserve to know where you came from." Lily's eyes filled with tears. What if she didn't want me? Then she missed out on someone incredible. Sarah whispered. College was freedom and loneliness. Lily made friends easily but kept her past hidden. She told people she was raised by amazing parents and left it at that. Yet every birthday she caught herself imagining what her mother's face might look like now. Would she recognize her? Would she care? Years rolled by. Lily graduated, moved to Seattle, and built a successful career as an interior designer. She had a cozy apartment filled with light and color, her own version of home. But every time she designed a nursery for a client, that old ache resurfaced. She wondered if her mother had ever prepared a room for her. Then one gray November morning, as Lily poured coffee before heading to work, she noticed an envelope slipped under her door. No name, no return address, just her first name written in shaky handwriting. She opened it slowly. Inside was a single line. "Someone has been looking for you for a very long time." Lily froze, heart pounding. Could it be? Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello? Is this Lily Thompson?" a soft voice asked. "My name is Karen. I'm a caseworker with the Department of Child Services. I think we need to talk." Lily's hands trembled. For the first time in 33 years, her past had come knocking. If this moment gave you chills, imagine what happens next. Who is the person behind that phone call? And what secrets has Lily's past been hiding all these years? Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you do if you received a call like this after 33 years? Stay tuned for the next part of Lily's incredible journey. It's only just beginning. Lily sat frozen on the edge of her couch, her phone pressed to her ear. The woman's voice on the other end was calm but hesitant, like someone carrying a fragile secret. "Lily," Karen said, "I work with the Adoption Records Department. A woman recently contacted us as she believes she's your biological mother. Lily's breath caught. My mother? The words felt foreign in her mouth. Yes, her name is Margaret Ellis. She's been searching for you for years, but until recently we didn't have a confirmed match. She's asked if you'd be willing to speak with her. For a long moment, Lily couldn't respond. 33 years of silence, of wondering, and now, a name. Margaret Ellis. It echoed in her mind like a whisper from another life. Karen continued gently. There's no pressure, Lily. I can send you her information if you want time to think. Lily swallowed hard. Please, send it. When the call ended, she just sat there, the city buzzing faintly outside her window, coffee growing cold beside her. She opened the email a few minutes later. A name, an address, a phone number, and then a photo. The woman in the picture was older than Lily expected, her gray hair pulled into a loose bun, eyes tired but kind. She stood in front of a small house with a garden full of wildflowers. Lily stared at the image for minutes, barely blinking. There was something familiar in the curve of that woman's smile. That night, Lily didn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, memories flickered. A soft hand brushing her hair, a lullaby under dim light, the sound of rain on a window. Were those real memories or just the stories she'd built to fill the empty space? The next morning she called Sarah. Mom, Lily began, her voice shaking. I got a call yesterday from a social worker. They found her. There was a pause on the other end. Sarah's tone was calm, but Lily could hear her heart beating through the silence. Your birth mother? Yes. Sweetheart, how do you feel? Lily let out a shaky breath. I don't know. I thought I wanted this, but now that it's real, I'm terrified. Sarah's voice softened. That's normal. You've carried this question your whole life. Whatever you decide, we're here for you. Lily smiled through tears. Thank you, Mom. After they hung up, she stared again at the photo. She zoomed in until the pixels blurred. Then, before she could overthink it, she picked up her phone and dialed the number. It rang twice. Then a voice, faint, trembling, answered. Hello? Lily's heart pounded. Hi, this is Lily Thompson. There was silence. Then a soft sound, like someone catching their breath after holding it too long. Oh my God, the woman whispered. Lily? Lily's throat tightened. Are you... Margaret? Yes. A sob broke through the line. It's me. I've waited so long to hear your voice. Lily's hand shook so hard she had to steady it against her knee. Why now? She managed to ask. Why after all this time? Margaret hesitated. Because I finally had the courage to face what I did. And because I don't want to die without telling you the truth. Lily felt her heart drop. Die? I'm sick, sweetheart, Margaret said quietly. But before I go, I need you to know. I never stopped loving you. Lily covered her mouth, tears spilling freely. She couldn't speak. The line filled with the sound of two women, strangers yet bound by something deeper than time, breathing through decades of pain. When they finally hung up, Lily sat in silence for a long time. The city outside felt distant, unreal. She looked at her reflection in the window. Same eyes, same mouth. Maybe the same woman, after all. But deep inside, a question began to grow louder. If her mother had loved her so much, why had she left her behind? The next few days passed in a blur. Lily went to work, answered emails, attended meetings, but she wasn't really there. Her thoughts kept drifting back to that voice on the phone. Margaret, her mother. She replayed every word in her mind, analyzing every pause, every tremor. Part of her wanted to call again immediately. Another part was terrified of what she might learn. What if the truth shattered the small peace she had built for herself? That Friday after work, she sat in her car outside her apartment, phone in hand. The city lights shimmered in the rain. Finally, she opened the email again and read the address. Salem, Oregon. Just an hour away. She took a deep breath and started the car. The drive was quiet, the highway stretching endlessly under the cloudy night sky. As she approached the small town, memories she didn't know she had began to surface. Flashes of a red bicycle, the smell of apple pie, a white curtain swaying in the breeze. Were these fragments of her past? Or just fantasies she had invented to make sense of it? When she reached the address, her hands trembled on the steering wheel. The house was small, paint peeling from the porch rails, but warm light glowed through the window. Flowers, daisies, sunflowers, lavender, overflowed from the garden. She sat there for a long moment before stepping out. Each step toward the door felt heavier than the last. Finally, she knocked. The door opened slowly, and there she was. Margaret stood before her, frail, smaller than Lily imagined, wearing a faded blue sweater. Her eyes filled instantly with tears. "Lily," she whispered. Lily froze. She didn't know what to say, what to feel. "Can I hug you?" Margaret asked softly. Lily nodded, and suddenly they were in each other's arms, both crying quietly. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy. But it was real. Inside, the house smelled like cinnamon and soap. Margaret led her to the kitchen, where 2 cups of tea were already waiting on the table. "I didn't know if you'd come," she said, hands trembling slightly. "I almost didn't," Lily admitted. They sat in silence for a moment before Margaret spoke again. "I need to tell you what happened. You deserve the truth." Lily braced herself. "I was 17 when I had you," Margaret began. "My parents were strict, very religious, very proud. When they found out I was pregnant, they sent me away. They told me that if I kept you, I'd ruin the family's reputation." She took a shaky breath. "I wanted to fight them, Lily. I wanted to keep you. But I was young, scared, and alone. When you were born, they forced me to sign the adoption papers. They told me it was for your own good." Lily's throat tightened. "And you never tried to find me?" Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "I did. Many times. But the records were sealed. I even went back to the agency. But they told me you had been moved between foster homes. I thought I'd lost you forever." The words hung in the air like ghosts. Lily wanted to believe her, but anger and grief battled inside her chest. "Do you know what it was like?" she whispered. "Growing up wondering if you even cared?" Margaret nodded slowly, her face crumpling. "Every day. Not a day went by that I didn't regret it." Lily looked down, her heart breaking and healing all at once. They sat together in silence, the ticking clock the only sound between them. For the first time, Lily felt the shape of her mother's pain, not as an excuse but as truth. Outside, the rain began to fall again, tapping gently on the window like a soft reminder that time never stops. It just gives second chances. But Lily wasn't sure yet if she was ready to forgive. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the kitchen window, touching the wooden table where Lily and Margaret had fallen asleep the night before. 2 cold cups of tea sat untouched beside them. When Lily woke, she wasn't sure for a moment where she was. Then the smell of lavender soap and cinnamon brought everything back. The phone call, the tears, the confession. Her mother was real, and she was right there, sleeping quietly in the chair beside her. For a few minutes, Lily just watched her. The deep lines around Margaret's eyes told stories of sleepless nights, of years spent looking for something that could never be replaced. When Margaret stirred, she smiled weakly. "You're still here." "I guess I am," Lily said softly. Margaret's hand trembled as she reached for her daughter's. "I know I can't make up for the years we lost, but I want to tell you everything, even the parts that hurt." Lily nodded, her chest tightening. "I need to know." Margaret took a deep breath. "After you were born, I was sent to live with relatives in another state. They said I needed to start over, but I never stopped thinking about you. I tried to reach the agency to see if I could take you back. They told me it was impossible. They said you'd already been placed with a family." Her voice cracked. "I didn't know they'd put you into foster care. They lied to me." Lily stared at her, stunned. "So you thought I was safe?" "Yes," Margaret whispered. "I thought you were loved and cared for. I had no idea you were being moved from home to home. If I had known—" She stopped, wiping her eyes. "I would have fought harder." For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the refrigerator. Lily could feel the anger she'd carried her entire life trembling inside her. But it wasn't sharp anymore. It was tired. "I wanted to hate you," Lily admitted. "But sitting here I can't." Margaret's lip quivered. "You have every right to hate me." "I don't," Lily said quietly. "Because you're the only one who ever sang to me. I remember that song." Margaret looked up, startled. You remember that?" Lily nodded. "It's the only memory I have of before the system." Margaret covered her mouth as tears streamed down her cheeks. "I used to sing that lullaby every night. I thought you'd forgotten." "I never did," Lily said. For a long time they sat together, letting years of silence dissolve into something fragile and new. Later that afternoon they went for a walk in the garden. The air smelled of rain and blooming jasmine. Margaret showed her the small wooden bench where she used to sit and write letters, hundreds of them, addressed to My Lily, never mailed. "Would you like to read them?" she asked. Lily hesitated, then nodded. The handwriting was delicate, the ink fading, but each letter began the same way. "My dearest Lily, I don't know where you are, but I hope someone is holding you when you're scared." Halfway through the second letter, Lily couldn't read anymore. She pressed the paper against her chest, tears spilling freely. Margaret reached out. "I know it's a lot to take in." "It is," Lily whispered. "But it's also what I needed." Margaret smiled through her tears. "I'm glad you came." As the sun set, Lily realized something she hadn't before. Forgiveness wasn't about erasing the past. It was about understanding it. But there was still one question lingering, one that Margaret hadn't yet answered. A truth that would change everything. And Lily was finally ready to ask. The sun was low, casting a golden haze through the garden. Lily sat across from Margaret on the porch, both wrapped in old wool blankets. The quiet between them was soft now. Not the heavy silence of strangers, but the calm of two people learning how to breathe the same air again. Still, that one question burned at the back of Lily's mind. She turned to her mother, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mom, you said you wanted to tell me everything, but there's something I don't understand." Margaret looked down at her hands, twisting the edge of the blanket. "I know what you're going to ask. Why didn't you come for me sooner, once you knew where I was?" Margaret's eyes glistened in the fading light. "I tried, Lily, I really did. But when you were moved into foster care, the records were sealed again. By the time I found out where you were, when you were finally adopted, the law didn't allow me to contact you. I didn't want to hurt your new family." Lily blinked back tears. "Hurt them? Mom, all I ever wanted was to know you existed." Margaret took her daughter's hand, her voice breaking. "I thought I was protecting you. I was wrong." The words hit Lily deep in the chest. She looked away, staring at the flowers glowing under the sunset. It would have been easy to stay angry. But looking at Margaret, fragile, sick, her eyes full of both regret and love, Lily realized she didn't want to carry that weight anymore. "Mom," she said softly, "I forgive you." Margaret gasped quietly. Her shoulders shook as she started to cry, and Lily reached out, wrapping her arms around her mother for the second time in her life. This time, fully. They stayed like that for a long while, the light fading into twilight. A few weeks later, Lily started visiting every weekend. Sometimes they talked for hours. Sometimes they just sat together, letting the silence do the talking. Margaret's health declined slowly, but her spirit seemed lighter. She smiled more. She laughed at small things. She even hummed that same lullaby when she thought Lily wasn't listening. One afternoon, Lily brought her sketchbook. "I've been working on something," she said shyly. Inside were drawings, not of buildings or designs, but of memories that never had pictures. A small girl with a teddy bear. A lullaby by candlelight. A woman standing in a field of flowers. Margaret touched the pages gently. "You remember more than I thought." "Maybe not everything," Lily said, smiling, "but enough." That night, as the stars emerged, Margaret looked at her daughter and whispered, "Promise me something. Anything. Don't let my story be the end of yours. You deserve more than pain. You deserve a life full of love." Lily nodded, holding her mother's hand until she drifted to sleep. A month later, Margaret passed away peacefully. At the funeral, Lily placed a small envelope in the coffin. One of the letters her mother had written, now rewritten in Lily's own handwriting. My dearest Mom, you didn't lose me. You found me even after all this time. I love you. Lily. As she walked away from the cemetery, Lily felt something she'd never known before. Peace. Weeks turned into months. Lily continued to paint, to work, to live. But she also began volunteering with foster children, helping them find the hope she had once lost. Every time she met a child who felt unwanted, she knelt down and said softly, "You are not alone. Someone is always looking for you, even if you don't know it yet." And somewhere deep inside, she could almost hear that familiar voice again, the same lullaby, the same warmth, reminding her that love, once found, never truly leaves. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Tell us in the comments, would you forgive your parent if you discovered the truth after 33 years? Because sometimes, forgiveness isn't about the past. It's about giving yourself permission to heal.